67-46, the final score here inside the Bryce Jordan Center as Penn State gets revenge on the Minnesota Golden Gophers here on Thursday afternoon inside the Bryce Jordan Center. Mitch Gerber joined alongside by Miles Dredd, who finished with 12 points on the evening. Miles, what was your biggest takeaway from this one tonight?
The team executed the game plan the best way we could, and that's really all I can. Coach Shrewsbury told us the first time we didn't. He said if, we execute the game plan, good things will happen, and it did.
Last time in Minnesota, that obviously not the outcome you guys wanted. Tonight, you lead this game for all but 2 minutes, 38 minutes in total. What was the difference from start to finish in this one?
The way we defended. We keyed in on their great players. We limited their easy shot attempts. We made it tough for them all night. And then the guys that, don't get as much of the spotlight but are also very good players as well, we tried to limit what they do best. So.
I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at the old stat sheet after this game.
No.
Guess how many points in the paint were in this one?
For us?
Yeah.
How many points we had?
67 total points. How many points in the paint tonight?
50.
40. Close.
Yeah.
40 points in the paint. That was obviously an emphasis in this matchup. What allowed you guys to get that fluid transition down low?
We ran a lot of ball screen actions, but we talked to John. When he's open, when he can see his numbers, throwing the ball, go get it, go score. And then also we had a lot of cuts to the basket, and we were just attacking mismatches and trying to get easy layups.
8 different scores in the first half, 9 total scores in this game for you guys offensively. Good to see some fluidity across the bench from start to finish. How much of an impact did that play in this game?
I mean, it was the world. We need our bench to step up at all times, next man up mentality. So it was great to see. I saw my boy Caleb hit a 3 today, made me smile. And even some of the other guys that, don't really play as much, they got to get in and, have some fun, and we always want to get them in as much as possible. So it felt good to everybody to be able to see our friends and teammates get in the game like that.
Big win over Michigan State earlier this week. Big win over Minnesota this afternoon. How do you continue that momentum as you guys now go back on the road at Maryland?
Next game mentality, we can't get too high, can't get too low. We get back in the gym on, whatever day and get to work.
Whatever day. You don't even know what day it is at this point in the season. Miles, appreciate your time as he finishes with 12 points this afternoon here inside the Bryce Jordan Center. We'll let you go. The women's team, getting warmed up behind us. They're going to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers this evening here inside the Bryce Jordan Center at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I believe we might have a press conference coming up here in a few moments. Miles, you can go ahead and take the headset off. You don't have to stay. You got better things to do than sit here on the postgame show. We'll run through some of those highlights right now as we await the postgame press conference from Micah Shrewsbury and company coming up here in a few moments. We'll carry that live for you guys. We'll continue our coverage of warm-ups happening right behind us here as well. Let's take a look at some of those highlights from this one between Penn State and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. First half from start to finish, just as we talked about with Miles Dredd, who finished with 12 points. Penn State really found their momentum offensively from the start in this one. 8 different Nittany Lions landed in the scoring category on the stat sheet in that first half. 9 bench points, 16 points in the paint. Minnesota with just 4. That was a key to success in this game. Balanced attack offensively for Penn State. Fluid defense, we just spoke about that with Miles Dredd. Eric Curry, who had 22 points for the Golden Gophers the last time these two programs faced off. He had 0 points in that first half. Heard Miles Dredd talk a little bit about holding some of their scores and some of their newer guys to limited scoring opportunities. That was a point of emphasis in this victory today. Jalen Pickett led the way for Penn State in the first half with 5 total points and a team high of 17 minutes. We saw Jalen Pickett lead the scoring through the halfway point much of the season so far, especially lately in these games. But tonight, the biggest difference, 5 points versus 10 points. Very balanced scoring attack offensively for Penn State. Once again, 8 different Nittany Lions scoring in that first half. Penn State led the first half for 18 minutes and 49 seconds, 27-19. The score at the halfway point. Penn State put up an absolute clinic on the defensive end tonight. Penn State finishes with 40 points in the paint. Kind of ridiculous when you actually think about what that stat means. Jalen Pickett finishes with a team-high 20 points. Miles Dredd with 12. John Hare, the big man down low, finishes with 10 as 9 different Nittany Lions score in this contest. Penn State shoots 54% from the field. 7 triples that all led to a 67-46 final score. Penn State with a high of a 13-0 run in that game. Jalen Pickett, once again, the leading scorer for Penn State. And Jamison Battle, the leading scorer for Minnesota, with 16 points on 6 of 15 from the field and a team-high 37 minutes for the Golden Gophers. Just visited with Miles Dredd here on the post-game show live. We'll wait to hear from head coach Micah Shrewsbury coming up here in a few moments on the post-game show. And we'll also hear from select Penn State student-athletes coming up in that post-game press conference as Penn State once again will now turn their attention towards the road side of things. They'll take on the Maryland Terrapins here in a few days on the road this upcoming Monday, to be exact, at 7 o'clock p.m. on ESPN2. That's officially ESPN2, February 21st. And then Penn State will come back here to Northwestern to take on Northwestern, on Friday, February 25th at 7 o'clock p.m. So a couple of 7 o'clock p.m. games for the Penn State Nittany Lions as they ride a 2-game winning streak going into that Maryland game. Look at some of these highlights right here. I mean, talk about that defensive attack. Talk about that attack down low for Penn State on the offensive side. See some of the rookies scoring some points in this contest. Really balanced, fun day here inside the Bryce Jordan Center for Penn State as they walk away with a 67-46 victory in this contest over the Minnesota Golden Gophers. You can absolutely say they were looking for revenge in this contest. Penn State fell to the Minnesota Golden Gophers just a few days back on the road, a game that they wanted to shake and ultimately turn towards this one to be able to get their advantage in this game. 67-46 the final score. Waiting to hear from head coach Micah Shrewsbury and select Penn State student-athletes coming up here in a few moments for the post-game press conference. Can tell you right behind us right now, the music that you're hearing, the teams that you see warming up behind us are actually the Penn State women's basketball program as they're going to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers here this evening. A unique doubleheader here inside the Bryce Jordan Center because ultimately it was a rescheduled game for this Penn State-Minnesota matchup on the men's side of things. That was at 4 o'clock p.m. here Eastern time this afternoon. Pretty decent crowd, actually. Pretty good showing for a 4 o'clock tip. And then the Lady Lions will take on Nebraska here at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time inside the Bryce Jordan Center. Jalen Pickett leads the way for Penn State with 20 points on 9 of 14 from the field and 4 total rebounds, as Jamison Battle leads the way for Minnesota with 16 points on 6 of 15 from the field, a team-high 37 minutes. Let's show the press conference room right now, just kind of show you what's going on, what we're waiting for right now. Those of you that are avid viewers of the Penn State men's basketball post-game show know exactly what that podium looks like. You heard from Tom Izzo the other night after Penn State knocked off number 19 Michigan State here inside the Bryce Jordan Center. Tom Izzo giving all sorts of praise, not only to head coach Micah Shrewsbury, but also the big man down low, John Harrow. As he finished tonight with 12 points. Jalen Pickett with 20 points. John Harrow with 10. Miles Dredd with 12, 9 different scores for that Penn State offense today. Completely balanced attack. We just heard from Miles Dredd, who finished with those 12 points earlier on in the Penn State men's basketball post-game show. We'll hear from select Penn State student-athletes coming up here right there inside the press conference room. I'm not really sure what the delay is. Those of you that have watched the Penn State men's basketball post-game show know that this is pretty quick normally. So I'm not really sure what the holdup is right now. Normally the visiting team press conference, or head coach rather, will visit with the local media on both sides of things. Not sure if that's going to happen tonight, but I can guarantee you that we will hear from head coach Micah Shrewsbury and 2 Penn State student-athletes who will address the local media before taking on the Maryland Terrapins this upcoming Monday at 7 o'clock p.m. on ESPN2. That's February 21st. And then Penn State will be back here inside the Bryce Jordan Center for Senior Day. Believe it or not, it's already that point in the season. Lots of seniors getting recognized for Penn State. Next home game versus Northwestern on Friday, February 25th, 7 o'clock p.m. tip. So come have some fun with us here inside the Bryce Jordan Center. It'll be a cool atmosphere on senior night. Send these seniors out in style. I mean, come on. It's a Friday night. If you're in the State College area, Happy Valley area, come have some fun. Get some popcorn, sit in the seats, and enjoy a matchup between Penn State and Northwestern. All right, we're going to step aside for just a second here as we, just kidding. Look at that. Right on time, we're going to hear from Ben Johnson, the head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Ben, can you talk about the challenges of guarding Pickett in the isolation game there, because it looked like that gave you some trouble? Thanks.
Yeah, no, he was good today. I thought their whole team just did a much better job of, playing with energy and fight and juice and all the above. The benefit of the quick turnaround is that, there's not a lot you can change with a game in between on both sides. And so going into it, we knew for the most part kind of the looks we were going to get offensively and then the looks they were going to give us defensively. And I thought it was just clear from the jump that, Penn State just played with so much more energy and life and had legs. And so, you can run the simplest of plays, but when you're living downhill and you're aggressive and attacking, there's not a lot a tired or soft defense can do. So, I thought more than anything, they did a great job of just of competing and wanting it more and just and having more fight.
Ben, Jameson was really the only one over here. Jameson was really the only one who got anything going, but even then he had cold stretches. Was that more something that Penn State did, or was just not your day?
No, I think Penn State, again, I thought both sides of the ball, they did a good job. They pressed up. They forced the issue. They dictated. And again, for whatever reason, I think 2 minutes into the game, we were shot and couldn't get anything going. A lot of tip balls, a lot of stuff at the rim that we couldn't get. We shoot 45 from the line. I think all of the above, but definitely give Penn State credit because I thought their energy and the competitive spirit. They took it to us from the start, and we never punched back. So.
And to piggyback off the first question, it seemed like they put you guys in the pick and roll a lot out there. How much does that drain your energy when you have to constantly try to work to get over screens, work to get through screens?
No, it does. But they were doing the same thing 5 days ago. And so I think our team has to mentally just become so much tougher. We can't have the big disparity from on the road to at home with just the effort piece. Like I said, I right now when you're building this, you don't really necessarily care about score. Everybody wants to win. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to score, 46 points, But the bigger picture is the product that you put out there and what that looks like and how you play on both sides of the ball. If you struggle to do that, then the other stuff doesn't matter, right? It's all about the details. If you're good at the details, I think over time you'll put yourself in position to win a game or have success or have a chance. And we didn't even come close to doing that tonight. So we've got to be able to find it within ourselves to get our fight back. Because for the I'll say 75% of the year we've had it, and these are the dog days, and you got to push through the dog days of February.
So Penn State had 40 points in the paint today compared to your 12. What did you see go wrong for your team down low defensively?
No, again, I just thought we didn't have a lot of resistance, whether that was guarding the post or, defending pick and roll. There wasn't a lot of resistance. Our guards got posted, our guards got driven, our bigs got posted. It wasn't just one guy. Again, it goes back to, Penn State did a good job playing on the attack and being the aggressor. But we didn't do our part. We didn't provide any resistance, and I just felt like guys were living downhill off the post up or off the drive and living at the rim. So,
you and Micah inherited somewhat similar situations this season. Have you had dialogue with him and just kind of what it's like to take a program over that's in somewhat of a rebuilding phase?
Yeah, no, we've talked. It's rare that you're able to come in, to a league, especially as one as good as the Big Ten, and have somebody that knows exactly what you're going through. Most of the times, especially at this level, you might be the only guy with a bunch of veteran coaches, and even coaches that maybe aren't winning, they don't have the same roster or don't have the same build that you might be going with. So it's a little bit different when you talk to them. But with Micah, we're both battling. Trying to get our programs going in the right direction, and I think we do it more similar than different. And then we're both first-year head coaches, so I think there's a lot of similarities there that we're able to talk about and discuss and bounce things off each other.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thank you.
Well, there is head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, Ben Johnson, addressing the local media here in Happy Valley. A couple of key points as we await to hear from head coach Micah Shrewsbury and select Penn State student athletes coming up here in that press conference room in a few seconds. You know, pressed up, forced the issue. 2 minutes into the game, they were shot. That's the head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, Ben Johnson, talking about his team, giving PSU credit about what they did, especially the points in the paint tonight. Penn State finishing with 40 down low in the paint. He said, quote, didn't have a lot of resistance. PSU players pushed on the attack. That was the ultimate difference in this contest, is the points in the paint category, 67-46, the final score. While we wait to hear from a couple of the select Penn State student athletes, which should be coming up here in just a few seconds, let's flash back and take a look at a couple of the highlights from this one between Penn State and Minnesota. We might cut out of these to carry that press conference to you guys live on the drive home right now for those of you that are watching, no matter where it is, whether that's in California, right here in Happy Valley, or it could be on the East Coast, West Coast, across the country, across the pond, whatever it might be. Appreciate all of you tuning in to the Penn State men's basketball post-game show live right now. Penn State in the first half with 8 different scores on the stat sheet. That was a big difference in that first half, as it was a 27-19 score at the break in this one. 9 bench points for Penn State, 16 points in the paint to Minnesota's 4. Heard about the emphasis on the points in the paint from Miles Dredd. If you missed that interview with the senior earlier on in the Penn State men's basketball postgame show, be sure to go back and watch that interview. Some good dialogue there from the leader, one of the leaders from the Penn State men's basketball program, Miles Dredd, who finished with 12 points in this contest tonight. A balanced attack on the offensive side, fluid defense on the other side of things for Penn State. Eric Curry, who had 22 points earlier a couple weeks back, or a couple days back, I should say, in the matchup between Minnesota and Penn State. He had 22 points. He had 0 points in the first half of this one this afternoon. Jalen Pickett led the way for Penn State with just 5 points, but a team-high 17 minutes, as Penn State would lead in the first half for 18 minutes and 49 seconds. Penn State in the second half came out gunning right away. They left off, continued their momentum, continued their lead, as Penn State would put on an absolute clinic on the defensive end and in the paint tonight. They finished with 40 points in the paint in this contest. Miles Dredd talking about being able to get that ball down low to the big man, John Hara, who's fist bumping some fans behind us right now. John Hara's got a big fan following here in Happy Valley. John Hara loves Penn State. Penn State loves him back. He finished with 12 points, or 10 points rather, in this contest. Miles Dredd with 12 points. Jalen Pickett with a team-high 20 points tonight for Penn State. Nittany Lions shooting 54% from the field. 7 triples from beyond the arc. Led the way for all but 2 minutes in this game tonight between Penn State and Minnesota. All right, we're going to cut out of these highlights and go back to the press conference room, where I believe we have some select Penn State student athletes addressing the local media.
That you were able to get done. It looked like at one point, Coach was actually yelling to Giovanni, get out, get out, get out, so you can do your thing.
Definitely. Coach has tremendous trust in all of us, and he does a lot of scouting, so he knows who's a good defender, who's a bad defender, and if we feel like we got a mismatch, we got a lot of people who can create off the isolations. Me, Sam, Seth, Miles Ken. So we had a lot of people who could take advantage of it, and I had the mismatch most of the time in this game.
This is one for both of you. How do you go from losing 5 days ago to winning tonight by 20-plus points? What was the biggest change from Saturday to today?
It's a battle of mental fortitude. In the same time period, we played a game in between then. We had a lot of preparation. We watched a lot of film, and we just had a bad taste in our mouths. We were just like, we don't want to go away with any regrets. And, that one at Minnesota, that hurt. We didn't play our best basketball.
Definitely just the buy-in. We knew what we had to do. We came in, and after a great game at Michigan State, we didn't want to have any let-off. We wanted to come in here and, handle business, and I think we did well tonight.
This is for both of you guys. Did you guys feel like this was your most complete performance of the season so far on both ends of the court?
Yeah, I definitely think that this is probably our best game of the year, just with the way we guarded. We held, it's like 20 points under from the last game, so I think we did a great job on the defensive end. And then our turnovers are down, too. It was 10, but it was lower before, we subbed some people in.
I think it was one of the, if not the most complete, it was definitely one of them for sure. Absolutely.
Both of you guys drew Jamison Battle at different times of the night. He had more production than he did last week, but can you talk about how your rotations and everything went tonight on him?
I mean, he's a great player. You know, he can shoot the ball, drive it. He's big and strong. You know, we just got to do our best job to, you know, make things difficult for him. And, you know, like I said, he's a great player. He's going to make tough shots. You know, as long as we keep making it tough for him and just try to be physical with him as much as possible. And I think the results will be a good thing.
Yeah, we definitely had to pick it up, me and Miles, because Seth wasn't in as long. So we knew we were just going to throw a lot of bodies at him and just try and wear him and Penn Willis down as much as possible. That was one of the adjustments we made from the first game.
How did you guys feel like you matched up physically? Coach Johnson was just in here saying that, you know, he felt like it was clear from the beginning that his guys didn't really have legs. Did you guys identify that and try to attack more, or I guess just kind of looking for your appraisal on the physical differences between you guys?
No, I mean, we kind of focused on us and the way we wanted to play, which was our brand of basketball. Coach talked about it. You know, we want to play our brand of basketball harder and a lot better. Just pick it up a notch, you know. So I wouldn't say so, no.
It's been, you know, a month since you guys have had this kind of double-digit win, and they've been kind of, you know, few and far between this year. What does it kind of feel like on the court during a game like this, where it kind of seems like things are clicking, there's the rhythm? You know, how does that feel, and how do you kind of, I guess, take this and move it forward?
It feels good. I mean, you know, you always want to be, you know, tight games are fun. You know, they're exciting. And I think a game like this, it helps us with a little bit of momentum. You know, people are feeling good. You know, the team has a good morale. And I think that a win like this can, you know, push us forward. Tight games like we've played pretty much all season, I guess, you know, they're very intense. They're very tiring. You know, today some guys got to get a little bit of rest. So I think I like both, to be honest. I don't really have a favorite.
Yeah, I think it's showing the growth in our team too, because usually, you know, we have a little lead at halftime and then we let people back into the game. This time we kind of extended it, and then we just kept putting our foot on the necks, and that was a big emphasis coming out of halftime. Thank you.
I like that hat, by the way, brother.
A win like this can push us forward. Great quote right there from Miles Dredd as Penn State once again knocks off the Minnesota Golden Gophers 67-46 here inside the Bryce Jordan Center. We'll wait to hear from head coach Michael Shrewsbury, who should be up at the podium in a matter of seconds right here. But a couple of quotes to take away from Jalen Pickett and Miles Dredd right there. Question was this the best game of the year? Jalen Pickett said, best game of the year, hands down, and did a great job on the defensive side. That made a difference in this contest. Miles Dredd said, if not one of the most complete, it could be the most complete game of the season for Penn State. Wins like this can push us forward. Here comes head coach Michael Shrewsbury to address that victory.
It feels like Saturday. You play like a 4 o'clock game or this early. It's different. It doesn't feel like a Thursday afternoon or whatever it is now. So, first off, I want to thank our crowd and our students that showed up for us again. And, they've done a good job all year. Of really spurring us on and pushing us and helping us and being there for us. And you know, we've played well at home. We haven't played so well at home at times either, but our fans that have showed up for us and the students that have showed up every single time, I'm very appreciative of them. I thought our guys, I talked to them before the game about our resiliency as a team. That's, if you look back at this team or at the end of this season, like what is our calling card? I think it's our resiliency. And whether that's in game in terms of, coming back from deficits or doing different things like that, but also from game to game. And this was a pretty tough stretch for us playing Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday. Not much preparation time, not playing a lot of guys. And guys have to play a lot of minutes and do some different things. And the way that they responded and how they played today, just proud of those guys. And we've gotten our last 2 home games. Now we got a tough road game against Maryland, then we get to come home and play 2 more. And we need to play with that same resiliency, that same fight, and we need everybody, all of Nittany Nation to come and help us so we can close it out the right way at home next week.
Can you speak to the versatility that Jalen has in terms of being able to do all those things in isolation, which you see a lot at the next level, but maybe not so much at this level, and how key was that to establishing kind of the tone you wanted to set today?
Yeah, I thought offensively he was really good in terms of getting to the spots where he wanted to get. But he also, we worked on some things yesterday, and it was we couldn't do very much in between days, but we worked on some things offensively, and I didn't call it. I let him call it. This is what you see, this is what you're looking for. You call it every single time, and I think he was really comfortable in what we were doing, what he was looking for, and we attacked it the right way. And he got to his spots. He got to his spots and scored. He got to his spots and he hit the big roll, and he got to his spots and he hit the guard on the lift. So he kind of did everything, but he was really good, and he'd been struggling a little bit. So for him to break out and have this game was key for us.
Micah, Miles talked a little bit about you guys playing your brand of basketball. At this point in the season, how would you define Penn State basketball, and what does that brand really look like to you?
If you listen to John, it's gritty, not pretty. How we play, 67-46. I don't know, it was a 4 o'clock game. I hope there were a lot of people watching, and I hope there were a lot of people that turned it off. I was like, man, I can't watch this. But that's the kind of style we want to play. That's who we are, right? We know who we are. We know how we defend, and we're going to make you earn every single thing. And our group, after the Michigan State win, I gave him the Nick Saban rat poison line. It was like you're walking around class, walking around campus, walking around your apartment, dorm, wherever you are, and everybody's telling you how great you are. But just last Saturday, we went to Minnesota and played our 4th worst defensive game of the season. And hats off to them. They played great offensively, but we were terrible defensively. And I told them, I said, think about how you felt when you left UMass. Think about how you felt when you left Indiana, how you felt when you left Michigan State, right? That game at Minnesota defensively was right there with those. We just scored the ball. So it didn't feel as bad because the game was close. But it was the same defensive effort. I think they took exception to it. And they came back, and we played one of our best defensive games of the year.
Micah, you mentioned the condensed stretch of games that you had here. How important was it to get Jalen off the court for a little bit? Because I think he averaged over 40 minutes a game because of the overtime games over the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, I got him 30 seconds of rest last game against Michigan State. I think he felt that. That's probably why he played great. I went through that and didn't even realize Seth played 40 minutes. Miles got in foul trouble a little bit against Michigan State, so Seth played 40 minutes. So we tried to get Jalen a little bit of a break earlier in the first half, tried to, get it around the timeout where he got some extra rest as well. But we were playing well in that stretch, so he got to stay out longer. But any time that, he still played 31 minutes, 15 seconds, but, it's not 40. So he'll be dancing around all night, probably feeling great, ready to play again. Yeah, it was really important, I thought. Like, get him a little bit of break, get John a little bit of a break. I thought, Giovanni's energy, Jelani, when he got in, like, it allowed John to sit a little bit more. Caleb coming in and doing some good things allowed Seth to stay out more. Sam, Dalian, we kind of utilized everybody and allowed guys to get a little bit more rest that we need.
Mike, you talked about how you had one of your worst defensive performances on Saturday and then one of your best today. What changed from that 5-day span that you think happened?
I'm going to start letting you guys come in and listen to my pregame speech sometimes, every once in a while. I told those guys, being in the NBA, right? I was there. I was a part of – I got to get my math right again. I was part of 10 playoff series in 5 years. So I told our guys, this is similar to a playoff series. Right? You play game 1 and then you play game 2 at the same place, and there's usually 1 day in between. Then there's a gap between games before game 3 and 4 because you travel and they give you more time. But between game 1 and 2, you don't have much time to tweak things. So as a coach, you spend that time preparing for a team, like before you start the series. And then if you lose that first game, you think about your game plan. And I told our guys, our game plan was good. Now we need to do it harder and we need to do it better. So our game plan didn't change against these guys in the first time. We did it better. We did it harder, right? So our execution was a little bit better. There were other factors, right? These guys just came off the road. They're traveling. They just played Ohio State. There's other things to it, but I thought our effort, our activity, which wasn't there. Eric Curry shot a lot of jump shots in game 1, and nobody helped off the ball and swiped at him and stunned it or did anything. Like, you saw the activity today from the other guys, right? We got a bunch of deflection steals. He'd catch it. Guys are swiping at him. So we executed the same exact plan. We just did it harder and did it better.
Talking about perception and emotion and team momentum, if you look at the 3 games that got canceled, those are 3 games that you probably win, or at least you'd be favored in. And if you add those,
it's pretty tough.
But
I get you.
These are games that maybe you feel comfortable about adding to the hypothetical win column. And the perception of how the season goes changes a little bit, the emotion, the momentum. Mm-hmm. Is there any value in games that never get played that you can kind of go, we feel good about our chances and kind of add that to the emotional cachet of how you feel about how a season is going?
Yeah. We wish we had them to be able to play and look at it a little bit differently. But at the same time, I always want us to be improving at the end of the year. And it might look how it looks, how our record looks and everything else. If we're not improving, it doesn't really matter. I feel like we're improving. I feel like each and every game we're getting better and better and better, and guys are getting comfortable and we're doing the right things. So I wish we could have gotten a couple of those back, right? We tried. It didn't quite work out, to get those games back in terms of our schedule in the Big Ten, and everybody else was getting canceled at that time, so they made it hard. But I feel good about where we're at. I can tell you right now, until I look at the box score, I have no idea what our record is. I know what our conference record is. Just look at it, and I try and figure out where we're going to be, where we need to go, what's upcoming, and everything else. But our overall record, I haven't taken a look at. But I don't know. Yeah, I wish we had them, but I feel good about where we're going. Right, we're playing, we're beating teams in our league. Which is really important. If you feel you beat Michigan State, you beat Minnesota, you feel good about those wins. I felt good about how we played. I messed us up at Michigan. We should have won that game, right? I got to be better during that stretch. Wisconsin, we were right there with them. So, even then when we don't play our best basketball, we're in games. So I feel good about how we're progressing as the season's gone on.
Hi, Coach. So your older guys in particular, especially the seniors, how does their prior experience to Penn State kind of translate onto the course, and what is the impact that they have on the team?
Yeah, you know what? They've kind of been through a lot of things. I think, when you've played, we got a bunch of guys that have played 4 years of college basketball. Whether it's guys that are seniors pluses, and this is their 5th year, or guys that are regular seniors. So you've seen a lot of things. They've seen a lot of basketball. They've been in a lot of situations, and they haven't done it here, but now they're starting to do it here in terms of seeing those different situations. So just using their experience. I know at different times, like, I can lean on them some to know that they're going to do the right things. We have great leaders. We have older guys that are mature about their approach to the game, but their approach to making themselves better as players, their approach to taking care of themselves after games. Like when you play a tough stretch like this, is a guy like going and getting treatment? Is he going and getting in the cold tub? Like, what's he doing? Or is he just going home? Like, that's what young guys do. They don't feel pain at all. So they just, Dalian Johnson, although he's good, I'm just using him as an example. He could play 40 minutes and then just go home and eat Burger King and then come back and practice the next day. Some of these older guys know that's probably not the best thing for them. So they spend more time. Like John lifts after games and then goes and gets treatment. And then the next day he's here in the morning and he's working on his body. I think older guys understand that. And they know that longevity is the key. Your greatest ability is availability. So we need you on the court. Thank you, guys.
Well, there's head coach Micah Shrewsbury addressing the local media following tonight's game, talking about Dalian Johnson going home, being able to go home and eating a couple of Burger King burgers. Got to be pretty nice to be young again. Let's take one more look at the highlights from tonight's game between Penn State and Minnesota as we recap some of the quotes and comments from head coach Micah Shrewsbury in this one. Shrewsbury talking about the resiliency of his team. A tough stretch. Games on Saturday, Tuesday, and Thursday today. The best stretch of basketball that they've played all season long. Also talking about the brand of Penn State basketball. Gritty, not pretty. Those of you that are watching the Penn State men's basketball game show, game in and game out, you know that is a phrase stemmed from John Harrah, the senior leader of this Penn State men's basketball program. Gritty, not pretty. We know who we are. Micah Shrewsbury talking about hopefully some of the people out there were watching this game and turned it off because of how boring it was, rather, if you want to call it that. But gritty, not pretty, the mantra for this Penn State men's basketball team. Also a great story from head coach Micah Shrewsbury sharing with us his pregame speech to his program, talking about how he was in 10 playoff series in 5 years in the NBA and how Game 1 and Game 2 are at the same place. Game 3 and 4 are at a different place, but you talk about losing Game 1. So you think about Saturday, Penn State loses Game 1. There's not a lot of time between those two games to be able to recuperate and make some tweaks and changes, but you know what? It's about playing better and harder, as head coach Micah Shrewsbury talked about. Game plan was executed, but you just got to execute it better and harder, and that's what Penn State has done the past couple of games on Tuesday and Thursday as they knocked off number 19 Michigan State on Tuesday, and here they knocked off Minnesota today, Thursday. Each and every game we're getting better. Quote from head coach Micah Shrewsbury in this one, 67-46. The final score in this contest as Penn State finishes with 40 points in the paint tonight. Jalen Pickett, a team-high 20 points. Miles Dredd, the senior leader, with 12 points. John Harrah, another senior leader, with 10 points as 9 different Nittany Lions collect baskets for Penn State in this one. Nittany Lions shooting 54% from the field, 7 triples in this contest, but the difference maker was those 40 points in the paint, and Penn State doing a tremendous job on the defensive side of the ball. Miles Dredd said, quote, wins like this can push you forward. And forward comes this upcoming Monday, against Maryland. Penn State goes on the road to face the Terrapins at 7 o'clock p.m. on ESPN2, February 21st, the date of that game. Next home game for Penn State is going to be Senior Day versus Northwestern on Friday, February 25th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, or if you can't make it to the Bryce Jordan Center, which hopefully you can, that game will be on ESPN2. Penn State wins its second game in just 3 days. Whole lot of action the last couple of days, the last week for Penn State men's basketball as the Nittany Lions now improved to 9-4 overall inside the Bryce Jordan Center this season. That's going to do it for this edition of the Penn State men's basketball game show as Penn State knocks off Minnesota 67-46.